guys, and welcome back to Do It to Dollars podcast. It's your girl Paislee, and today I have a very interesting guest today. So I'm just gonna allow him to introduce himself. So tell us what's your name, who you are, what you're up to.
Dwayne Phillips, right now I'm just eating pizza with you.
Oh, we got some delicious pizza. Got some yummy toppings on mine. Super excited to dig in.
Oh yeah.
So, okay, let's see how we introduce this to the guest. What would you call yourself? Like a cuck? More of a sissy? Or just, how would you describe it?
Well, I'd probably say I'm more probably of a switch, although I have more of a leaning towards the submissive side. So I do enjoy stuff like humiliation, but more than anything, I just like being, I guess you could say, probably physically dominated by women.
Okay. Now, what got you into that exactly?
Well, I guess you could say started long ago. I was growing up, I'd watch Wonder Woman. She was, of course, a strong female character, and when she'd lasso the guys and all that, I thought, even at a younger age, how it kind of just excited me.
So you're like, damn, I gotta have a woman like that.
I wish. So, yeah, Linda Carter, of course, being, so beautiful at the time, statuesque, and probably just grew from there. And then, as I got a little older, into my teens, I was also a big pro wrestling fan, and then so when I was in my teens, sometimes I'd go and they used to have all these wrestling magazines. Well, inside they'd have advertisements for videos as well, and one day it caught my eye of mixed wrestling, which is male versus female wrestling. At that time it was relatively new. You didn't see very much of it, so of course it interested me. So when I got a little older, I would start buying some of the videos, and then
But this was non-sexual.
Yeah, it was. I would say more of a kink, but not actual like sexual per se. But yeah, I did find it very, I guess you might say, in a way, maybe erotic or something. But the idea of a man wrestling a female and possibly even being defeated, I would love watching how they would squeeze a guy between their thighs or smothering them or what have you. So from there, I'd start buying videos as I got older, and then eventually one day until it got to the point where I just decided I'd try it myself, so I did. And so I actually had a session, and there were females that actually do wrestle sessions and stuff like that, so that's how it basically started. Then from there,
so let me give them a little breakdown, because I don't think my fans really, this audience really knows. So, humiliation, and correct me if I'm wrong, there's a fetish that some guys like, and it could be they want to be humiliated for their small penis. They could just want to be like embarrassed and like publicly humiliated. They want to be humiliated because it's so humiliating being dominated by a woman, especially one that's much smaller than you. So, or one that's super overweight and you're like, oh my gosh, how can she even handle this? And they like to be humiliated by these things.
Exactly. Some guys just have a natural attraction to that. Some don't. But
okay, so a session now. How was your first session? Do you remember your first one?
Oh yeah. Of course, the first one I don't think you ever forget. So, yeah, she was traveling and happened to be in the same city, so we met up for a session, and yeah, I had actually seen her on one of the videos that I had purchased years before. And so,
so it's like a fan. You were like a real fan of hers, so you got to like finally meet her.
I finally met her, and yeah, we had a good time. It was fun. She's very likable, very down to earth, and but yeah, very very it's a very fun time, to say the least. And so yeah.
So, in your sessions, they get pretty dominating, the
Mhm.
women. So, do you use any safe words with the girls that you do sessions with, or how do you kind of let them know when it's like, whoa, like this is too much?
Ow. No. Seriously. Sometimes you will have safe words. Usually that is more common in BDSM sessions, but yes, wrestling sessions sometimes too. Yes. Um, it also depends on what type of a wrestling session you're going to have. There's competitive, which means you really go out for it. You really try to compete to win and all that. You have semi-competitive, where the guy doesn't usually give too much resistance. He resists a little bit, puts a little bit of a fight, but not much.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have fantasy styles. Fantasy will just be like it implies a fantasy, where they just may do some kind of a role play type. You have domination type wrestling, where the woman completely pretty much dominates, putting you in holds that you can't escape from, or make you tap out, or to make you submit.
Mm-hmm.
So there's
Okay.
yeah. So that's so that will usually. But yes, if there is something that she's doing, usually you will either tap out or verbally submit or however. So that's usually how they do it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any session horror stories? Or like, what was the worst session you had?
Oh wow.
Or have you not encountered that?
Well, there's one that what I would consider a horrible one session would be a session where they really don't give you. They're very much a clock watcher, and a clock watcher basically means like if you have a session for 30 minutes, as soon as that 30 minutes up, it's
Mm-hmm.
and I understand on one hand, some will say, well, you pay for that time, that's what you get. Understandable, but at the same time, too, there are several out there that are not clock watchers at all, and they don't mind letting go on a few extra minutes at least, just to kind of all that. But some are very, very businesslike, and some guys aren't really into that too much. But but my particular one, yes, I believe it was a half-hour session,
Mm-hmm.
but what I the thing about it was she would actually take time out of her session to like answer a phone call or something if someone called her, and I felt that was pretty discourteous, especially since I was supposed to have her undivided attention for that period of time.
For 30 minutes.
Yeah, for 30 minutes, and so it wasn't just one time; it was about 2 or 3 times she did at different times, about a few minutes, and then when the 30 minutes was up, then she's like, okay, well, I was like, wow.
But she was on her phone.
Yeah, for a few minutes, yeah, but she ended it, and so at that point, I was like, well, yeah, I didn't like it, but what was I going to do? Force her to try to give me more time? I mean, it is what it is. So, needless to say, I didn't write a very good review about that, and I was honest about it and said, she was wasted a lot of the time. And
So how do you go about finding girls that are interested in this kind of thing?
well, used to be, and it still exists today. There's a website called WB270.com.
Mm-hmm.
It's a wrestler list for women who like to do that.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And the majority of them, or a lot of them, I should say, are like fitness or bodybuilder types. But there are also, of course, other types of women as well. Some of them are more into domination. Some of them really like the athletic and really like the competitive style. So it just depends. And you can find ones that advertise in pretty much every state. And they also, a lot of them will tell where they're going, when, so whether or not they're going to be in, say, whatever. California, New York usually has the most of them, of course. So they'll usually put their traveling schedules on there as well. So.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so what is besides the wrestling thing, are there any other platforms that you check out maybe just in your fun time to watch your porn or
Mm. Oh,
talk to girls?
Pornhub's always nice. Mm.
That's my favorite. Pornhub.
Mm-hmm. But if we're talking to girls, I've also done night flirt, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've actually met a few from there over the years, even though I know they say they don't. But I've met actually, I think three.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, night flirt is a phone sex operating platform.
Mm-hmm.
So, how do you like night flirt? Like from the customer side of things, what do you think about night flirt? Because I talk on night flirt myself, and
Well,
I have my own opinion.
of course, from a customer point of view, um, one thing I would say that well, there are of course some things I like. Some things they've changed so that I didn't. For example, there used to be a time where if there was a particular operator I was calling, if they were busy, it would give you the option to be next in line. So you could click on a button and then basically as soon as they were done with that call, it would automatically alert you, and then you could call them right after that.
It doesn't have that anymore?
It does not have that anymore. No, if they're busy, it just says they're busy. You can send an email, but it won't like hold you next in line. It won't. In other words, you won't be next on the line. You're not next on the list. You'll just have to wait till it becomes available and then call. So that's one thing I would say that over the years that that I would like for them to go back to it. But other than that, I would probably say maybe I've also dealt with ones where they use too many fake pictures. A lot of the women on there use a lot of fake pictures, and I've also called one.
I don't like how night flirt allows that.
Yes, exactly. Because there was one, in fact, I talked to, and then one day I happened to call another random one day, and the voice sounded very familiar.
Mm-hmm.
So familiar, in fact, where it turned out to be the same one, but she was using two different sets of pictures. So she was using,
Night flirt allows you to make, I think, up to 2 or 3 accounts.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have one under Paislee H and one under Paislee Hayes.
Mm.
But if I wanted to, I can create a whole nother name, use different pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, it's so discouraging. Well, it can be frustrating sometimes because the guys are like, "Is that really you?"
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, "Well, yeah, it's really me because I sell my goodies on there, which are like videos and stuff."
Yeah.
So you can buy it. And how could I sell custom videos and how could I create new goodies and everything if I wasn't using my real picture?
Good point. Mm-hmm.
So that's my thing. And then I'm like, well, look, if you want to know, go check out my videos, call me. And then plus, I'm real open. So I tell them, hey, Google Paislee Hayes.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really say much else on there. But hey, just Google Paislee Hayes. Find me on Twitter. Find me on Instagram. And you can see like what I really look like if you want to just go through so many steps to actually prove it's me, because I'm not. But I know a lot of girls do. But from my side of things on night flirt, I feel like it could be better with them not only identifying the girls and making sure that they are using their pictures,
Verify. Mm-hmm.
but actually really making sure the guys are following the rules.
Mm-hmm.
I have this battle on there where it's like, so I have over 400 reviews.
Wow.
All positive, 3 critiques. But not nothing negative, but 3 critiques.
Constructive feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And so the things that they want to talk about sometimes is just difficult to listen to.
Mm. I can imagine.
The suicidal ones get me the worst.
Mm.
But it's like, why do I get them?
Mm. Yeah, it's not like you're a suicide prevention hotline.
Okay, yeah. But they call that for that. or the ones that want to like talk about like incest.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't want to get the site in trouble, so I don't want to go into too much because I can go like it gets worse. But we'll keep it a light and we'll say incest. So I think they could do a better job at monitoring the phone calls. Because it gets uncomfortable when you don't want to talk about these things, but they keep going.
Mm-hmm.
But what I do is, if I just don't want to talk about it, I'll just be quiet, and eventually they're just gonna hang up.
Mm.
But it just sucks that it has to be like that. It's unfortunate.
That's true, but then sometimes they'll leave bad feedback because of it. Sometimes.
Okay, yeah. So it's like, and what do? You can call the site and be like, "Hey, they left me bad feedback, but they're leaving me bad feedback because I don't want to talk about raping your stepdaughter." Like, you know what I'm saying?
I've actually seen some operators, they'll actually put that on their profile ad. They'll leave a little note or feedback and said, so-and-so left me a feedback because I refused to discuss something that went against the TOS for night court.
Mm-hmm.
Now, whether or not it really does anything other than... But,
Yeah. So that's just the only thing. So back to you.
Mm-hmm.
What is your most favorite session you've had so far?
Mm-hmm.
And what happened during that?
Oh, that's a toughie. The favorite session. Wow. Had so many. Had so many that were really, really good. Well, there's this one. I used to see her several years ago, but she retired from it, from doing the. It was more of a. We would do some of the wrestling type stuff and all that, and she would even let me film it. Unfortunately, all those were on a old hard drive, and it gave out, so I was unable to recover any of them so far. So lost a lot of the lost memories there, sad to say. But she was fun. She was good with the wrestling and face sitting, stuff like that, and she liked to tie. Would also like to do the bondage stuff, so she'd tie me up and leave me there and stuff like that. And she's real good with the verbal, and yeah, she would. Those were really fun, and so those were the type of sessions I would say that were the most fun for me. And there were several different that would indulge in that.
Okay.
And so then more recently, I've had one similar style, and yeah, she would. I've had some that would like to use me to write stuff on my body, stuff like that. So,
Okay.
markers and such. Yeah, just fun stuff.
Just have some fun with it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Why not?
So if there's anything that you haven't tried yet that you want to try, is there something like that?
Well, if you're referring to like an activity that I would like to try that I really haven't tried yet, honestly, I can't really say that I haven't tried anything yet so far that I can think of off the top of my head that I'd love to really just try. Because most of the stuff I've thought about, I've actually done.
Okay.
Yeah, so
out here fulfilling your fantasies.
Yeah, most of it. Yeah, I've even had sessions with 2 girls before.
Ooh, how was that?
Yeah, it depends on the dynamics. Yeah, some of them went very well. Some of them actually not too good. It just depends on the dynamics on the females. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, if done right, is really fun. Let's see what else. Let's see. Well, most of the stuff, as I said, that I'm really into and I really enjoy is I've already done. So I've done the wrestling. I've done some of the BDSM stuff. I've done different things, bondage, stuff like that. So right now, off the top of my head, I can't really think of anything that I'd really love to try that I haven't already done. But if something, of course, comes up to mind, I'll let you know. But at this time, I just want to keep doing it.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming on Doobies to Dollars.
You're very welcome.
Appreciate that.
Thank
We
you
need
for
some
having
more fetish type guys on here.
Definitely.
Well, this was fun, and thank you for the pizza. That was
Fetish is the
freaking-
spice of life.